This is CNN Breaking News.
Top U.S. intelligence officials today lined up against their future commander-in-chief, defending their conclusion that the election cyber attacks were ordered at the highest levels of the Kremlin and were accompanied by a campaign of propaganda and fake news, all aimed at swaying the U.S. election results. Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman John McCain, who called today's hearing, says Russia's meddling amounts to an act of war. And President-elect Donald Trump has repeatedly voiced doubts about Russia's role. And U.S. Spy Chief James Clapper warned that such disparagement, his word, disparagement of the U.S. intelligence community is very worrisome. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, a Trump critic, weighed in on that.
Putin's up to no good, and he better be stopped. And Mr. President-elect, when you listen to these people, you can be skeptical, but understand they're the best among us, and they're trying to protect us.
President Obama was briefed today on the intelligence report. President-elect Trump will be briefed tomorrow, and a declassified version is expected to be released next week. Russia is reacting angrily. The state-run news agency says no evidence of Russian hacking was presented, and a Kremlin spokesman says Moscow is, quote, sick and tired of being blamed. Also, in Chicago, 4 African-American suspects have been charged with a hate crime and kidnapping in the torture of a white special needs teen that was streamed live over Facebook. I'll speak with Congressman Chris Collins of the Trump transition team. He's standing by live, and our correspondents, analysts, and guests, they are all standing by with full coverage of the day's top stories. Let's begin with America's top intelligence officials strongly defending their assessment of Russian attacks on the U.S. election. Our justice correspondent, Pamela Brown, is joining us. Pamela, what did we learn from today's Senate hearing?
Well, Wolf, we learned that intelligence leaders are more resolute than ever in their assessment about the Russian hack. And they said today Russians continue to hack and push out fake news, just as they did during the election.
Tradecraft that the Russians have long used.
Today, the nation's top spy, not mincing words in his defense of the U.S. intelligence assessment that Russia is to blame for the unprecedented hacks during the 2016 election.
I don't think that we've ever encountered a more aggressive or direct campaign to interfere with our election process than we've seen in this case.
And insisting their confidence has only increased.
We stand actually more resolutely on the strength of that statement that we made on the 7th of October.
James Clapper, along with both Democrat and Republican lawmakers, sending a strong message in the wake of Donald Trump's repeated public statements doubting the intelligence.
Who actually is the benefactor of someone who is about to become commander-in-chief trashing the intelligence community?
I think there's a difference between skepticism and disparagement.
Putin's up to no good, and he better be stopped. And Mr. President-elect, when you listen to these people, you can be skeptical, but understand they're the best among us, and they're trying to protect us.
Clapper revealing today that a comprehensive report into the Democratic Party hacks will lay out not just what the Russians did, but why they did it. Among the motivations expected in the report, set to be released Monday, an effort to tip the election in Trump's favor.
There are actually more than one motive. That'll be described in the report. I assure you that I intend to push the envelope as much as I can on, particularly on the unclassified version, because I think the public should know as much about this as possible.
Clapper told the committee the hacks were only one part of a broader effort by Russia.
This was a multifaceted campaign. The hacking was only one part of it, and it also entailed classical propaganda, disinformation, fake news.
Does that continue?
Yes.
Intelligence officials say it's clear the man behind it all is Vladimir Putin.
You say you think this was approved at the highest level of government in Russia, generally speaking. Is that right?
That's what we said.
Okay, who's the highest level of government?
Well, the highest is President Putin.
Do you think a lot happens in Russia big that he doesn't know about?
Not very many.
Yeah, I don't think so
Certainly
either.
None that are politically sensitive in another country.
President Obama received his briefing on the comprehensive review today, and then tomorrow in New York, President-elect Trump will receive his, led by DNI Chief James Clapper. Wolf.
All right, Pamela, thank you.